So, autoimmune hepatitis. Autoimmune means it's to do with the immune system attacking the own body, and hepatitis itself just means inflammation of the liver. Now, when I mention autoimmune hepatitis, people often jump to one of a few things. The first one is they think, oh, you're an alcoholic. So, no, that would be alcoholic hepatitis. The next one is, I think, autoimmune. Oh, so you've got AIDS? No, although some of the side effects seem to be the same. And the other one that people jump to is they hear hepatitis and they think of the viral hepatitis, hep A, B, C, and so on. Up to E, I believe, at the moment. And it's none of those. But the thing that they all have in common is the hepatitis part, is in the inflammation of the liver, which leads to cirrhosis and then liver failure. Looking at some of the figures around Europe and the world, there are about 15 out of 100,000 sufferers of autoimmune hepatitis in Europe per year. Approximately 10,000 people with autoimmune hepatitis, or AIH, in the UK. It's 3 to 4 times more common in women, and it's most common in women around the age of 45. So I was actually a bit of an anomaly to being diagnosed at the age of 20-something as a male. Looking at transplants as well, because I'm obviously going in for this process of transplant, there are more than 5,500 liver transplants in Europe per year. In the UK, we're looking at 985 liver transplants between 2016 and 2017. We've also got about 170,000 deaths from liver cirrhosis in Europe each year. So it's obviously fairly small in the scale of a lot of things, but actually liver failure, autoimmune hepatitis, transplants, all of these figures are still very significant. Some of the symptoms that I've had in the past, there's a whole host of them, and I'll try to remember. Or that my liver disease has given me pain and nausea. So there are times where I just feel really sick. There are times when, as I've said, I get that really painful feeling in my side. And one of the biggest things is actually the fatigue and low energy. I run out of energy very, very easily, which is very difficult for someone like me because I'm very much a get up and go person. I'm very energetic. I get very passionate about everything I do. So what this leads to for me really is a period of high energy for short periods and then crashing. And it's something I'm still not particularly great at managing, because actually the crashing part makes me want to do the high energy part even more, because I want to take advantage of those times when I've got the energy to do something. So yeah, fatigue and low energy are a big thing to do with autoimmune hepatitis and liver disease. There are some days when I wake up and it's an absolute fight to get out of bed. There have been days, in fact, when I've woke up in the morning and I've just been physically too exhausted, even after a night's sleep. I've been too exhausted to move, and I've had to just lie there and go back to sleep until late afternoon, because it's been that bad at that time. Obviously, the cirrhosis is a symptom of the autoimmune hepatitis, so that's the damage that's done to the liver, which causes scarring. It causes the liver to appear lumpy and hard. And so I say my liver is a bit like a kind of dried out prune when it's supposed to be nice and soft and plump. And in fact, one of the doctors who looked at me back in 2008 and did the MRI on me basically said my liver looks like the liver of a 60-year-old alcoholic, which was quite a frightening thing to hear. Another issue is portal hypertension. So because of the damage to the liver, it causes an increase in blood pressure, and that builds up across different parts of your circulatory system. That can lead to something called varices. And varices, and what I get in particular, are esophageal varices. And it's basically some of the veins in my throat. If you've ever blown up a children's party balloon, the toy model ones, and you kind of blow into it and it inflates halfway down, that's kind of what's happened to some of the veins in my throat. So they've just suddenly gone and inflated, and there's a risk that they're going to burst. And if the varices burst, it can be very dangerous because you can bleed to death into your own stomach without even realizing it. The treatment for this is something called esophageal banding, and they get a camera that goes down into your throat, which is the least pleasant experience ever. I absolutely hate it, so look up the video when I do it on endoscopy to see more about that one. And basically they put a camera down your throat and it has a little clamp on it, and it will basically try to grab hold of the vein and then put a tiny rubber band around it. So you've got the rubber band there, and then you've got a bit of the vein kind of pinched off here, and then this part will die and fall off, and then eventually this part will heal over and the band will fall off as well into your stomach. And the idea is that it basically seals off that weaker part and allows the body to heal around a stronger section of your veins. I've probably had over 20 bands done now, I think. Another thing I get is easy bruising and bleeding. My platelet counts aren't great. I bruise very, very easily, and when I do bruise, it tends to stay around for a while. So I don't know if you can see, I've got a bit of bruising there. I've got, yeah, it's not showing up particularly great on this camera, and on the back there, I think you can see that one a little bit better. These are all about 2 weeks old now, so you can see not only did that was just from a cannula being put in, so not only did that cause quite a lot of bruising, but the bruises stick around for quite a while. Also, there's anecdotal evidence to link autoimmune hepatitis with anxiety and depression. Now, how much of this is actually comorbid anxiety and depression, or caused by the autoimmune hepatitis, and how much is kind of biologically caused, or how much is actually because you feel run down all the time, because you feel really low energy, that both feels like depression, because you're in that very, very low state and you do start to feel that numbness, and also it leads to depression because you are just sat lying there completely flat for a while. So I think there's an interplay between them. Also, a lot of the medication that's used for autoimmune hepatitis and all the side effects do say may cause depression. So yay for that. And the final thing is probably the biggest, most significant side effect that I see day to day is the medication leaves you immunocompromised. So my immune system is very, very weak. So bugs and things that everyone else would be able to fight off and probably not even notice they'd even had it in the first place, can make me very ill, can make me ill for longer periods, and may even land me in hospital. So this is 2018, and I've been on antibiotics about 6 or 7 times already this year. And I've been into hospital a few times because just little bugs, gastrointestinal bugs, have hit me really bad, and I've not been able to fight it off. That really is one of the biggest problems, because it just leaves you constantly getting ill, and it's horrible to be kind of trying to live your life and you just keep falling ill. You keep having these sickness, vomiting, diarrhea, all the other lovely fun things that you get with these gastrointestinal illnesses. And also you're at risk of infections. So if you have any cuts or anything like that, you're at a much higher risk of infection than the average person. I try not to let that stop me or affect me very much, but I do have to be aware of what I'm doing. And particularly more recently, that's required some significant changes in my life and in my diet. The weird thing about autoimmune hepatitis is it's an unseen disease. It's not something that has, generally, for the most part, big rashes or spots or something you can look at somebody and go, they've got autoimmune hepatitis or they're ill. And in fact, that's even more so for the chronic part. When you've got an acute flare-up, you do have the pain, you may have jaundice. Usually it's pretty clear when I get ill, people look at me and just go, dude, you look awful. You look pale, you look yellow, you look like you just shouldn't be here. And me being me, I often kind of go, I'm fine, I'm just going to see how I go. And there have been a few times when my work, my colleagues who are absolutely brilliant, have just gone, no, you're going home. You can't be in here. I can tell you're not well. Go home. I was like, oh. I usually get quite grumpy at that point, but it is for the best. So, with being an unseen illness, and also something that doesn't affect you always day to day, it can be very easy, particularly in the earlier stages, to forget about it or to ignore it. And this sometimes means that it becomes very tempting or very easy to forget or stop your medication. It took me a long time to actually stop drinking socially, because it was a case of, well, I had a drink and I'm fine, so I can have another drink. Or, oh, I forgot my medication, but actually I seem to be fine, so it doesn't matter too much if I miss a few days of medication. I learned both of those things the hard way, that actually they are important and they do have a significant difference, because those complacencies will usually lead to a bad day or a bad period, and a bad period very often means I end up in hospital with the gastroenteritis, and then in hospital I have had more tests than I can remember. I've had x-rays, endoscopies, colonoscopies, liver biopsy, MRI, CT with and without contrast dye, blood tests, urine tests, all tests, physiological and neurological assessments, ECG, EEG, bone densitometry, x-rays, urine copper tests, eye exams, and probably a whole load more that I just can't even remember right now. And it has an impact on my life day to day as well. I am a food lover. You can't see it from the video, but I've got my Instant Pot over there. I love cooking. I particularly love like good chunky foods. I'm not a gourmet person. I'm not a little dainty kind of, oh, it looks really pretty. I like a big hearty meal. And unfortunately, my the limitations I'm now facing are I can't have any alcohol, I can't have any cheese, I can't have a lot of fatty foods, and I need to be on low sodium, because all of these things have a significant impact on the liver and can make it struggle a lot more. The other thing I have day to day is medication. I'm now taking 15 tablets every day, and trying to remember to take that I find tricky. Trying to remember to take that, particularly when there are some that need to be taken at different times, I find very, very tricky. I'm not very good at remembering things generally. Anecdotally, there are a lot of people who believe that there is a link between autoimmune hepatitis and memory issues. I've not seen anything confirming that in studies, particularly if there's been no incidence of encephalitis, but there do seem to be an awful lot of people on the autoimmune hepatitis support groups who say that I seem to have very poor memory. Other symptoms I have because of either the liver directly or because of the medication. Unfortunately, this is one of those things where a lot of the medications that I take for the liver cause as many problems themselves as they're solving. And then sometimes I've even got more medication to try to alleviate the side effects of the first set of medication. And some of these side effects include things like acid reflux, weak bones, weight change, all sorts of things. So what do I want to do after the transplant? I want to carry on as a teacher, and my goal in life is to make a significant difference in somebody else's life. So basically I have two mottos that are getting me through everything. It's important to keep very positive with things like this. There is a lot of scary numbers and figures, but the thing is to focus on the end result. And for me, I have two mottos that get me through it. One is, I'm too stubborn to die. And the other one is that I'm not done with this world yet. I haven't made that significant change for somebody, so I've still got things that I need to do. I ain't going anywhere. Hopefully neither are you. I hope you come back and view the rest of the videos when they come up. And I look forward to hearing from you in the comments. So Thank you, everybody. I hope this hasn't been too long and too waffly, and I apologise for all the ums and ahs. I'm going to work on that, hopefully, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.